What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. In today's video, we're going to be going over all of the best plays for the market this week. We have some huge news with Peloton, Bitcoin, and a ton of huge companies are reporting earnings this week. Like I said, we have a ton of great plays in today's video. The three major indices are all at all-time highs, so we're set to have a very interesting week in the market. If you guys are new here, don't forget to subscribe. We post brand new videos every single day. But with that being said, let's get right into today's video.
Yeah, Mike, and like you said, there was some very interesting news over the weekend with Peloton, and the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission on Saturday said that consumers should stop using the Tread Plus treadmill from exercise equipment maker Peloton, especially if small children or pets are around. And the announcement came 1 month after Peloton itself disclosed an incident involving the treadmill that resulted in the death of a child. And obviously, any type of death involved can be a bad thing. They're saying that some of these Peloton treadmills are unsafe. You guys can go ahead and look up some videos about the treadmill and find out why that is. But it's pretty interesting to see this with Peloton. They were going up last week. It looked like they might start to recover, but then it looks like now in after hours, they did take a pretty big hit on this news, falling about 2 points down to 114. And I would honestly expect this to hurt them pretty bad. I think that they said there was about 30 different cases of people getting hurt or injured in some way with this between people and pets. So definitely be careful. At the same time, Peloton is fighting this, and they're going to try to, obviously keep using their treadmill. But at the same time, there might be some stuff going on with them. And I would think that it would cause some negative movement out of the stock this week.
For sure. So just definitely keep an eye on Peloton. Like Tom said, you would think that this catalyst would have a negative effect. Peloton's next support level is right around 110, and then right under that, it's like 100 and then like 95. So just keep your eye on it. If this stock does fall, it has a lot of room to go down. Like I said, the first support's at 110 and then right around 100 and then 95. So good info there. And then Tom, what's going on with Bitcoin?
Yeah, this is actually pretty insane. Bitcoin might actually get an ETF or an exchange traded fund. And apparently on CNBC, an analyst says that that's really becoming a reality, but the approval is still a little bit away. And then they say that the SEC is currently reviewing a VanEck's second proposal for a Bitcoin ETF. And the officials now have roughly 2 weeks to decide whether to approve, reject, or extend their review window. And this comes as Bitcoin and Doji are all flying. And I have the Doji, I have their chart up right now. It's just been an insane move out of Doji. On Friday, they came all the way up to $44, and now they came back down to 30 cents. So people are getting a little bit worried about it, but in the longer run, I think Doji is going to be pretty good. And this week, especially Monday, I think that we're going to see a lot of hype come into this. I know that it can trade over the weekend, but obviously once the regular week gets started, I think that we might see more hype out of it than we're seeing right now.
Very interesting. I know everyone's talking about Dogecoin. It's trending all over Twitter. We have Elon Musk talking about it. Everyone has different opinions. Personally, I only like it for the short term. I'm not a huge fan of it for the long term, but it has a lot of potential. I mean, this thing is just exploding. I think in like the past 7 days, I saw somewhere that Dogecoin is up like 500% or 400% or something crazy. But either way, there's a ton of hype around this coin, and it's definitely showing a lot of potential, especially for the short term.
Yeah, for sure. And I had a lot of friends who actually texted me and they were like, "Hey Tom, what do you think of Dogecoin? I actually put $200 in at 10 cents and now it's at 40 cents." And I'm like, congratulations. You might want to look at taking your profits, but at the same time, people are saying that this could hit $2, $5. Some people are saying even $10 if you go out over the next few years. So there's definitely a lot of hype around it and a lot of upwards potential, I think. But at the same time, guys, sometimes this stuff gets a little bit overhyped and it can kind of start pumping back to the downside. So just be careful and just know how to manage your risk. But I think it will be pretty good.
For sure. And then Tom, what's going on with these earnings this week? I know we have a ton of huge companies reporting.
Yeah, we have a bunch of them. On Monday, we have Coca-Cola. And then after close, we have IBM, United. On Tuesday, we have Johnson & Johnson, PG, Abbott, Netflix. Wednesday, we got Verizon, NextEra Energy. Thursday, we've got Snap, AT&T, Intel, American Airlines, Southwest Airlines. So it's going to be a big week for the airlines. And then on Friday, we have American Express, Honeywell, and a few others. So there's definitely a lot this week. I didn't say every single one of them, but there's a ton of them. So definitely have your eyes out. It's going to be really fun to trade this week, I think, with all of this going on, as well as the news with COVID and stuff. I think that we're going to see some pretty good movement out of the market this week. And like you said, we're at all-time highs right now on these indices like the SPY. So if these earnings aren't good, we might see the market come down, or at the same time, they might be really good and SPY might pop up above 420.
True that. So I think my top stock for this week, just like earnings wise, would be Netflix. If we look throughout history, it seems that almost every time it reports earnings, there's just a huge move. So I'll definitely have my eye on it, and they actually report on Tuesday.
Yeah, definitely. The last time they reported earnings, you can see they actually gapped up right here on this daily chart. And this was right around January 20th, which is actually my birthday. But that's hilarious that they popped up like that on their last earnings report. They might do that again, or they might gap down. We don't know. Sometimes they'll have some negative sentiment out, but I'm definitely going to be watching Netflix. And I think my favorite one is AT&T.
Sounds good. So for the final news, Tom, what's going on with this Johnson & Johnson vaccine? I know that Johnson & Johnson stock fell a little bit last week because of some negative news with their vaccine. Is there any updates on this situation?
Yeah, CNBC reports that the White House chief medical advisor, Dr. Anthony Fauci, and we all know Dr. Fauci, and he said Sunday that he believes the U.S. will likely resume the use of Johnson & Johnson's COVID vaccine with a warning or restriction attached to it. And we see this happen sometimes in the United States to where something might not be too good. So then they just throw a little warning label or a restriction on it. So at the same time, it looks like that they're going to put that into your hands so you can decide if you want to take Johnson & Johnson's or Pfizer's or Moderna's. And it looks like that they will start to resume this, which is kind of strange to me. I would have expected if it was really as bad as they're saying it was, then maybe that, they shouldn't be using it anymore. But at the same time, it was only like 5 or 10 cases. So it might not be too bad. But in the end, it's just one of those things that if you're putting it into your body, it definitely will scare me.
For sure. All right, well, let's get right into our momentum plays in our member of the day. Today's member of the day is Neighbor J. So huge shout out, Neighbor J. You're a super positive member of the community, and thank you so much for all the comments on YouTube. They help us grow the channel so much. So huge shout out to Neighbor J. Thanks for being a great member of the community. But now let's get right into the momentum plays for tomorrow. And with the first one, we have SPLK to the downside.
Yep, and SPLK has been moving pretty good. There's a pretty solid support down there at 130. So if we can go ahead and break below 134 to the downside, possibly target the 130 support.
All right, with the next one, we have Target to the upside. So TGT, this stock is actually exploding. It broke all-time highs on Friday.
Yep, just have it move above 209.50. And like you said, this stock on the daily is actually pretty insane to look at. Just green day after green day, and it's just nice to see it continuing to push up even after this great year.
All right, and then with the next one, we have WFC. So Wells Fargo, they're not at all-time highs, but they're definitely rallying pretty hard. So what levels should we be watching?
Yep, make them break above 44.13 to the upside, and they had some great earnings last week.
All right, so we are eyeing SPLK to the downside and Target and WFC to the upside for potential day trades, only if they break the levels Tom listed. And if you want to trade with Tom and I every single day, day trades, swing trades, and access to our bots, you can click the first link in the description down below for about $40 off. But now let's get right into the $2 million trade for this Friday. We are looking at the Disney $192.50 calls that expire this Friday, April 23rd. So if we look at Disney, it's about $5 away, or this option is about $5 out of the money. In the very short term, it has like an ascending triangle, you could say, in like the past like week or two. But I think this one's pretty tough to say. I mean, it has resistance right around $192, another resistance around $190. What are your thoughts, Tom?
Yeah, I actually really like Disney. I think that with the earnings over the next month, they will do pretty well. They have earnings on May 13th, so that's in a little while. So I would think that they would go up. But at the same time, we have Netflix earnings this week as well. So if streaming services don't have too good of a week, that could be bad for for Disney, but I will say that it looks like they're going a little flat right now. So I'm going to be more neutral on this than anything. I do like this move off of the 180 support that they had a couple of weeks ago, but it looks like right now they're just a little flat. I would expect them to retest to the $200 level, but at the same time, with how flat they are and how much that they've went up this year, I think that they might come back to the downside. I would guess that they're possibly shorting these calls, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion.
Gotcha. So it's really a tough one because it's about $5 out of the money, which is, it's not crazy far out of the money, but it's definitely not close to the money. And then, it is a weekly option. And especially with the way Disney's moving, like I know it finished up $1 on Friday, but, it definitely wasn't a strong candle. So I'm going to have to say I'm neutral on this one too. I think the best way to play this unusual options trade would just be to eye it out. So if we see Disney rallying on Monday morning or Tuesday and it's breaking resistance, then I think that might be a good idea to, maybe day trade some Disney calls or something like that. But I'll definitely have my eyes on it because, $2 million into the weekly calls, it's definitely an interesting trade. So now let's get right into the questions from the previous episode. With the first question, we have A saying, awesome video, guys. Please talk about SI and Mara. So we have two Bitcoin-like plays. If we go to SI, this is a bank that really focuses on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and fintech and things like that. This stock has exploded over the past year. It went from about $12 to highs of 187. They do have earnings this week, and Tom and I never like to play the actual earnings release. We like to play the movement before and after the release, but never the actual release because that's just complete gambling. So I would just say officially neutral on SI, but maybe if there's a good opportunity for a pre-earnings run-up or run-down, maybe we do something like that. With Mara, though, Bitcoin did pull back this weekend, which shouldn't be the best for Mara. So I wouldn't be surprised if we retested that 35 level support or 30 support, just depending on how Bitcoin's moving.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Bitcoin, it might keep pulling back, but like I said, I would kind of expect once Monday rolls around to see more volume come into Bitcoin, Doge, and Litecoin and Ethereum and all the other ones. I think that crypto will kind of boom this week with how many people were kind of hyping up Doge. With Doge being the main one, obviously that one could pop 100% or 200% in a given day, where it's really doubtful that Bitcoin will do that. But I will say though that with SI, Silverstone or Silvergate, it looks like that they are triple topping around $180. So definitely watch out for that.
All right, with the next question, we have Joel saying, please go over MU in the next episode. Keep it up. Love the stuff you guys are putting out. See you in the Discord. So let's take a look at MU. Finished up around 0.5% on Friday. It's very close to highs right around $97. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think this one's going to be a pretty, I'm pretty neutral on it this week. I think it's going to move pretty big though, one way or the other. I think that we're either going to see MU kind of break down below this $89 level, and it might come all the way down to 85. And I think at the same time, we might see another gap back up to retest all-time highs around $95. This is a semiconductor stock, so they do make chips and stuff like that for computers, so they are part of that shortage that's going on right now. I would expect this to help them in the shorter term, though, just given how high some of these chips are costing right now because there's so little supply. And I would just guess that given that we had a green doji candle almost on Friday, that we will move pretty big one way or the other. Personally, I think I'm going to look at it to the downside, just given that we just had a triple top around 95.
Sounds good. So it actually, MU actually had highs at $97.50 back in the 2000s. So we are kind of double topping off of this level. But Tom, like you said, you're just expecting a big move around this level. I mean, we are very close to all-time highs.
Yeah, I think that we might see, it might not be a huge move, but we might see a move. If we break above 91, I think we might see a move back up to 95. And if we break below 89, we might see a move down to 85. So it's not the biggest move, about a 4-point move. I would say a 3 to 5% move there. So not the biggest, but I think that it just looks like a really good level, because right now we can look at two different sections. And if we go to the 180-day 15-minute chart, you can kind of throw a support down here right at 89.50, and then you can throw a resistance up here at 97 and just wait for it to break one of those. Or I meant 92 to the upside on the way back up to 97.
Sounds good. With the next question, we have G saying, what are your thoughts for Tesla? So Tesla didn't do anything on Friday, but it actually had an amazing week last week, soaring above $700. I think it's pretty tough to look at this one. It's kind of like mid-range right now. It has a support level right around like 715. Then it has resistance right around 750. So Tom, do you see any like major support and resistance levels you like, or like what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I have two pretty solid levels here. I'll go ahead and throw it up on the chart, but it was an amazing move last week with Tesla. It came above the $700 level, which was awesome to see. And as we can see on the chart, the day that it came above 700, which was Tuesday, we can see it just broke 700 and then went flying all the way up to 780 in pre-market the next day on Wednesday. Now we're sitting, like you said, the middle of the range around 740. So I have a range between 700 and 780. I would think that this week Tesla would go up and retest 780 to the upside, given that we saw a triple bottom here around 730 as well. So if you wanted to post a middle of the range, you can post 730 to 740 with the bottom being 700 and the top being 780. And like I said, I would expect Tesla this week to come back up and retest 780. I actually really like the daily chart setup, and you can see how well Tesla's been moving, especially above that $700 level. It did hit that resistance. It's at 780, which was pretty big, and it posted that all the way back on January 29th, whenever it was right around 900, and then had a few bad days. So I think that that's a pretty solid level there. If we break that, then definitely watch out for like 830 or 850.
Good stuff. With the last question, we have P asking about NVIDIA. So, Tom, let's take a look at it. This stock has been exploding over the past couple weeks. It's basically right at all-time highs. Do you have any thoughts on this one? I mean, this thing is going parabolic. It is just exploding almost straight up. Do you have any like major support and resistance levels? I know that there's a huge resistance right at 650.
Yeah, I think 650 is going to be the big level in everybody's heads with NVIDIA. Obviously, if we break above 650, then you're going to have to watch out for 700. But I think that that's going to be a pretty good level, which is 650 this week. NVIDIA, like you said, has been going straight up off of that CPU news. I actually really like this company. It's been a great company to trade this week. The options are pretty expensive on it, though. I will say that. So you have to have quite a bit of capital to trade this one if you want to, get some good options that are a month out at the money or in the money even. But going over 650, I think will be a great move for this one this week. We might see 700. I think that with some of these earnings, I think that if we see good earnings and the overall market pops up, then I think NVIDIA might hit that $700 level. But like you said, the big levels, I think, in everyone's minds right now are going to be 650 and then 700. If it starts coming back to the downside, watch out for 615 on the way down. There's a pretty good support right around 615 and 600, but 615 is a little bit more defined.
Sounds great. Well, Tom, do you have any last-minute stocks, options, or any insight for the market for tomorrow?
We have all those earnings coming up this week. I'm definitely going to be watching Coca-Cola tomorrow. That's going to be a pretty big one, I think. If they break above the $54 resistance, I think that this stock might have a pretty good earnings run. I'm not saying it's going to be a huge run because Coke doesn't move too much, but if we see a nice 2 to 5% day, it would be pretty good out of that company. And then I'm also just going to be watching Peloton. That news with the treadmills might really send them down. Sometimes these companies get some negative sentiment with them, and it seems like that the market just totally overhypes it up. So we might see Peloton really fall tomorrow. If it falls below 112, which is right at the 1,000 SMA, really watch for this stock to keep going. You could have another support at 108 and another one at 104. So I think that this stock might be the one to trade Monday.
Sounds great. Well, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Our first live stream will be tomorrow morning, right around market open. You can subscribe to the live streaming channel. The link will be in the description down below, but Tom and I will be live. Feel free to join us, ask some questions, and trade with us. Like I said, the link will be in the description down below, and we will be live right around market open. So, consider joining us, asking questions, and trading live with us. If you guys want to trade with Tom and I every single day, day trades, swing trades, and access to our bots, you can click the first link in the description down below for about $40 off. And if you have any questions, let us know in the comments down below. Other than that, thanks for watching.